In our top story tonight, the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Sir Roy Trotman, has charged that a meeting of the National Conservation Commission's board, which should have been held to discuss pending layoffs, never took place. Sir Roy made the comment today as he addressed a crowd at Browns Beach as part of the union's Mayday parade and celebrations. It was his final Mayday speech as General Secretary before his retirement in a few months.
The meeting was not held. The meeting of the board that was to discuss the layoffs that I'm hearing may have taken place yesterday. Now I ask anybody who has heard me read from the Declaration of Mayday, and anybody who understands that the trade union movement has been trying to build a closer relationship with the government and has been trying to build a closer relationship with employers across Barbados. I ask you, is this behavior acceptable in Barbados in 2014?
Well, using the union's Mayday celebrations theme, all hands on deck, Sir Roy also urged all workers to put in the effort necessary to rebuild Barbados. Earlier in the day, the BWU's parade attracted hundreds of workers as it moved off from the garrison Savannah. This year, 15 groups were involved, along with the Cadet Corps Band, the Youth Service, the Scouts and the Girl Guides. The first stop was the Frank Walcott Building in Culloden Road, where Sir Roy, Labour Minister Dr. Esther Bayasuku and others laid wreaths at the base of Sir Frank's statue. In other news, the Barbados Chamber of Commerce says it has finally managed to get an update from the government about the implementation of budget measures which were announced in August of last year. President of the Chamber, Lalu Vashwani, has revealed that less than half of the measures announced have been completed to date, while others are almost complete and a few others still have been plagued with challenges. He made the comment as the Chamber held its monthly business luncheon at the Hilton Barbados yesterday. Mr. Vashwani said the information was gleaned at a meeting of the Social Partnership.
That was the point that we have been trying to make. Let us know the facts. And what were the facts? That there were 59 things that the budget said they were going to do. 25 have been completed. 13 are 80% completed. Another 13 have problems. 3 are on hold. And each and every point, what the progress made, where they made improvements, and what is looking ahead for the year ahead.
Well, just about 80 people have so far been employed by the Adopt a Kilometre programme, and the Transport Minister is hopeful that this number will increase as the project unfolds. Minister Michael Lashley says he's pleased with the response from Corporate Barbados to the initiative, which invites companies to maintain a section of the ABC highway.
My information is so that a number of companies have come on board, and what is also interesting too is that small business persons, persons who have small landscaping businesses, this is also an avenue for them to get involved and also to employ other persons. So it is really an employment generating activity. It's also something too that will keep, of course, the environment and keep highway clean and green, and at no cost to the government.
Well, the minister was speaking to the media as he and the principals of the project, Preconco Limited, and representatives from some of the companies involved paid a visit to one section of the highway already adorned with signage. Managing Director of Preconco, Mark Maloney, says the intention is to maintain the verges on the highway and, where possible, promote the positive aspects of Barbados. Renewed support for government's decision mandating that local university students pay part of their tuition fees starting in September this year. It's coming from the Reverend Guy Hewitt, the principal consultant at Development Solutions, a company which focuses on education management. He says freeness can no longer be an option for Barbadians as far as tertiary education is concerned, and he believes it's time to adopt a new approach for funding in tough economic times. Reverend Hewitt shared his views as the Barbados Private Sector Association put on a town hall meeting, and the topic was education.
When we look at the question of freeness, we need to realize that freeness was not an end in itself. It was an investment about 50 years ago, a generation ago, to create a level of social justice and economic enfranchisement that has largely been attained. For those who would have read Prime Minister Gonzalez's note about the idea of Barbados would realize that we have done much more than our neighbors. And now it is a tough time, so we have to take some tough choices.
In the meantime, a number of people had their say on the problems that they see facing the local education system during that town hall meeting.
There is nothing wrong with some person being trained to be a doctor. The challenge is, do you stop at that first degree and then do you just go and be a general practitioner, GP? That's not what it's about.
We understand 11 plus has been imposed on us by our past colonial masters. Why are we still hanging on to it?
When we get to school in Barbados, we are so focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic, and we forget that people come in without discipline. How can you teach a child to read when they can't sit still? These are the things that we need to address.
Well, improved programming is one of the new features that listeners to Q100.7 FM can expect. This from senior announcer Joanne Seeley. She was speaking during a special Q in the Community held at Silver Sands Park, Christchurch, as part of the station's 10th anniversary celebrations. She says the changes will include something for everyone.
Larry Mears, our #1 morning man, he is starting now at 4:30 in the morning. So we're getting the jump on all the others. We have Kimberly Skeet. She is our mid-morning hostess. And basically she has now branched off into a program called Q Kids. So we are inviting the children to be an integral part of our Q family. We're going to go out now on Monday as well from 2 to 5. Archelists, rather than being stationary as we do on Thursdays, Archelists will be in communities right across Barbados, driving through the communities, stopping. So he's going to knock on your door. We want to hear your stories. We want to meet and greet you, find out what you're doing, what's going on in your life. And that's one of the added things that we're going to bring to Q.
We'll hear more about those changes and the special Q in the Community event during tomorrow night's broadcast. A woman who worked hard all of her life to take care of her children. That's how Barbados' newest centenarian, Iona Viola Griffith, has been described by one of her daughters. The Western St. James resident celebrated the milestone today, surrounded by relatives and friends. Mrs. Griffith was also visited by Governor-General Sir Elliot Belgrave, who came bearing gifts. According to her daughter Eleanor, Mrs. Griffith worked on several plantations in order to provide for her family.
She worked in the field, and you know, when you're growing up, when you're in the cane field and you're carrying up, you go up with the bundle of canes on your head, then you're pregnant and you're going up the ladder with the canes. She worked very, very hard in the cane field, and wherever she could get work, she get it to support her children.
Well, happy birthday and heartiest congratulations to you, Mrs. Griffith.